Как vous живете? That is hello from Russia. All right, we're going to look at Peter the Great in Russia. I want you to title this Absolutism in Russia. All right, and you're going to have this in your notebook and on a separate sheet for the questions that you'll turn in to me tomorrow. All righty. Now, why did Russia develop so differently than the rest of Western Europe?
Gee, I don't know. Maybe it's because they grew their beards so long.
Not quite, but you're going in the right direction. Now, one thing is they look to Constantinople for leadership. That is, they look to the Greek side of Europe for leadership rather than the Latin side. All right, Western Europe develops along the Latin lines of the old Roman Empire, and Russia develops along the Greek side. All right. Second, they got taken over by the Mongols, and that's going to sort of cut them off when when the rest of Western Europe begins to go through the Renaissance. Then they had an agricultural based economy rather than a more modern manufacturing economy, and religiously, Russia was Eastern Orthodox, going back to that Greek leadership. Now, if you look here, we talked about Philip II, Louis XIV. All right. Then you had old Frederick the Great over in Prussia. All right, Suleiman, and the one we are going to focus on is Peter. All right, in good old Moscow, Russia. Now, the age of absolutism in Russia actually dates back to Ivan the Terrible. All right. Why do you think they call him Ivan the Terrible?
Because he got really bad portraits done. I mean, look at that picture.
Yeah, that is a pretty, he does look kind of gruesome. Now, he was the first one to really take on the title Tsar. Okay. He kind of laid out the ideals for a legal code that is going to have a major influence in Russia. And he's going to use the secret police to control the people. All right. Lots of executions during his time period. All right. Then we get the Romanovs. All right. After Ivan dies, we get this family called the Romanov family. All right, and they're going to begin to control Russia from 1613 all the way up through 1917. That is the Russian Revolution. We'll talk about that a little bit later. All right. Now, of the Romanovs, the first great, really hardcore Romanov ruler that's going to kind of set a precedent is Peter the Great.
He sure looks a lot like Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, he does look like Alec Baldwin. But he was a pretty tall fella, as you can see in this picture. 6'7". Highly energetic. Extremely curious, sort of a Renaissance man for Russia. Now, he's going to, unlike most of Russia who look to the Greek Orthodox side of Europe for leadership, he's actually going to look to the West. All right. He saw that the West was building and was starting to move out and take over different parts of the world, and he wanted to figure out how they were doing it. Okay, so he visits the West. That is, he visits Western Europe, and he's going to learn about their customs, their schools, and their manufacturing. All right. And he brings some changes back. I need you to get these down in your notebook. All right. He's going to shipbuilding. He's going to rebuild the Russian Navy, modeled after Holland. Then he's going to attack manufacturing, like he saw in England. City planning, modernize the army. All right. And then he's going to see that it's best to head up the church. That is the Tsar being the head rather than another official. And he's going to adopt a Western European calendar. All right. Now, his westernization is also going to include agricultural reforms, um, the merit system. What do you think the merit system is?
You have to be a good person to do well in society.
Okay, you're going in the right direction. That means you got to move up. In order to move up, you got to show that you're good at what you do. All right. So it's not about who you are, who you're related to. It's about how well you're able to do your job. All right. He builds Russia's first navy, and he builds this port city called St. Petersburg. That's going to be extremely important. All right. This right here, St. Petersburg. All right, and he sort of modeled it after Louis the 14th. What did Louis the 14th build?
The Versailles.
Yeah, the Versailles, the old Palace of Versailles. All right, and then he's going to advance education by building trade schools. All right, now this is sort of his thinking about Russia. For you know yourself that though a thing be good and necessary, our people will not do it unless forced to. That same attitude, I think, could be forced to some of our students right now today. Now, look at this. That's a beautiful beard. Now, this takes you back to the boyars. All right, the Russian nobility. Now, when Peter got back from Western Europe, first thing he said was, we got to get rid of those beards. He hated the boyars anyway.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he cut off that guy's beard, and then he commenced to making Russia dress like and try to act like, and even he wanted them to speak like the West. All right.
It's taking this westernization thing like really seriously.
Yeah, he went kind of far with it. St. Petersburg is going to. This is probably going to be the highlight of his St. Petersburg when he builds his city. Costs a lot of people their lives, but he gets it done. He has his port city, and he's able to connect Russia to the West. All right. So here's some of his key accomplishments. All right, he got control of the boyars, or the nobility. All right, and then set himself up to be the absolute authority in Russia. He's going to modernize their military. And he's going to improve Russian diet, the status of women, promote education. All right. So, Peter's legacy, you would think that the people loved him for all the wonderful things he did, right?
Right.
Wrong. They hated him. Yeah, he wasn't looked at as Peter the Great until later on, much later after his death. All right. So that's Peter's legacy in Russia. I got 4 little questions I need you to answer. Bring these in tomorrow, and I will see you then.